Hello, everyone. How are we all tonight? Hope we're doing good. Let me just share this out, and then we'll hopefully get on with things. Copy that. Discord. Then I'll get invite on air on Discord for anybody that wants to join me. And then let's put some messages in the chat. DM groups here on Twitter. Trying to get some more people to the broadcast. Okay, so should be able to hear anybody that comes in because I got this plugged in the right spot. And now we need to see if anybody's here. Hey Joshua, I'm in the mainframe. How are you doing today, Joshua? After this, I actually need to get thing ready for tomorrow. I'm not sure whether I'm going to have the time tomorrow. I'm not sure whether I'm working it tomorrow or not. And were you able to see, did you catch the time-lapse video of page 6 yet? I'm inside your computer. Okay, for that I would have to say prove it, and I'm not sure how you would. I'm trying to. I can't get it exact. Okay, so what have you been up to today, Joshua? I went did some laundry, got that video together, working on another video that I'll show you the progress of later. Basically, I drew up Fitzchozo's character last night and today, colored it, and then I drew up a rough version of it, a little different. Well, the initial version was a little different too. I'm clearly Declan's Douglas, nerd, computer ace. Went surfing on the internet and was zapped to cyberspace. And hello, Metal. I know you probably got your own show or whatever you got going right, Reese's. But feel free to come on if you want, if you've got the time. So I got a roadway, I got a sidewalk here. I don't know what I want to do on the grass. Sort of like the page before this. Like where I put in the sidewalks and the road here. I just don't know what to do in this big space up here behind them. Oh, I believe that was canceled this week. Well, I didn't know. I don't watch as often as I should. Check your Discord DMs. Okay, just give me a sec. Okay, that's a little funky. To make it go around like that. Joshua, I'm trapped inside your computer. I don't think that would prove you're trapped inside the computer. Okay, so let's see. It's panel 4. Now we're on panel 5. And I hate to do this, but I do need to take out this nice Kirby Crackle circle. Why is the stream in 360 VR? Is it literally that way? Is everybody okay? People told me Joshua sent me some pictures. Did I click the 360 thing? Okay, let me check something. Where is the edit? Customization. Okay, I gotta see this, whether it's me or whether it's Joshua. I was just looking there. Okay. Stream settings. I must have accidentally clicked the 360 video thing when setting it up. Thanks, Mike. It doesn't look like I can stop it either. Without stopping the stream. Think I should restart it, or does this add something to my stream? Okay, yeah, everybody, are you in the back, Metal? Yeah, he is. Hey, Metal. Can you hear me? Okay, now you're talking and I'm not hearing you. Why am I not hearing you? Let me check my settings. Want to talk?
I don't know. Is anybody going to listen?
Okay. This is weird. This thing loves to change of things. Okay. Can you still hear? Or hear me?
Oh, I can hear you just fine.
Question is, can people on stream hear you?
Probably not.
How does this happen by accident? I can hear you, but you couldn't hear me in this last 5 minutes. No, I couldn't. I had my headphones plugged into my mic like I've had to do every other time. And I can still hear you when you talk, right, Metal?
I guess.
Yeah, okay, I hear you, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so somehow when I started up this stream, set it up, I guess when I went to click enable auto start and auto stop.
You accidentally clicked on the 360 as well.
Yeah. No.
I don't think I've ever been in a 360 stream before. Like, even as like a viewer, the fact that you could just scroll around on the screen is kind of trippy.
So people can scroll around on the screen and see.
Yeah, it's like your screen's been wrapped into a tube. So you can see everything, but it's like distorted and you have to like use your mouse to navigate the 360 stream.
Okay, I don't
This
think.
is what Joshua meant by like, I'm in the main frame. It's like you're watching this from inside the Matrix or something.
Okay.
I was supposed to have a show right now over a mug panel, but my guest isn't feeling good, and I didn't feel like doing pastries audio games by myself when the game wasn't necessarily built to be by myself. So here I am now. Oh,
Hey, pastry.
what were you guys talking about before I barged in here?
The fact that Rick messed up and now his stream is a 360 cylinder.
Oh, how could you mess up? How long have you been streaming? I'm kidding.
It's just in setting it up, I accidentally hit the button and didn't that button or check that box and didn't realize. And it's giving people an interesting view. We can see your hidden tabs. I have hidden tabs.
Oh man, so we get to learn more about the old Rickster than we ever would have wanted to.
Well,
I already know more about Rick than I want to.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, the metal. Also, how's Marsupial doing?
I think he's fine. I don't know. You know, you can live with somebody and like not even know how they are. So you know,
I thought
it's
you
whatever.
guys, thought you guys still did a show together.
Oh, we do. We're actually in the same house, but you know that's the best I can tell you.
Okay, do people think I should restart this stream because of doing it in 360 or...
Wait, I actually want to see what a 360 stream looks like. Is it like VR or what?
Sort of. Like it's kind of weird because it doesn't have the input from a 360 camera, which naturally loops something in a panoramic shot like that because they have lenses on all sides. So it kind of just takes his flat screen and forces it into a cylinder.
I think you should restart the stream actually.
Yeah, I'm on my thing and I'm moving it with the mouse. It does look a little crazy.
Oh.
Really can give you some close-ups of things.
Uh,
You can really get a close-up of me.
maybe we want to see three.
Yeah, but it's turning you into a
close-ups
cone
to-
head.
Yeah, true.
Maybe we don't want to see you.
Well, you don't have to. You can focus on whatever you want. But you can, if you take your mouse and go over the screen, you can move the screen. Pastry.
I'm just giving you. Wait. I can actually move around. Wow, this is so cool. Maybe you shouldn't stop it.
You mean maybe I shouldn't stop it?
Yeah. Oh man. This is. Wait, I don't know how to feel now.
Actually, you look more like a second generation Conehead. Like if Connie and them actually got together at the end and had a child. Like if the Conehead and a human.
This would be cooler if it was meant to be. I'm freezing.
Actually, I think it's cooler because it wasn't meant to be.
Should you stay or should you go now? Some things never change.
You like the Clash?
I just like to make references whenever it makes sense.
Mm-mm.
There's what I'm at. Well, Metal and Pastry can see what I'm at. Metal and Pastry can see what I'm actually showing now in the back. Here on Discord. I know you're looking on
the AR version. I'm still looking at the AR version. Maybe I was meant to miss my stream so that I could witness this crazy stuff.
Imagine doing one of your streams like this.
I mean, it wouldn't be that bad. Random work streams might be a little interesting, though.
I wonder if there's like a way. Like, there's probably like a mod for Blender or something like that where you could, or maybe even like Unity, where you could have the 3D environment inputted as like a webcam, right? Like, obviously, it would still have to follow a camera, right? But I wonder if you could force a 3D stream through like an actual 3D environment like that. You would probably need a hefty computer for it.
Hey Joshua, do you think Cross Comics should do all of his streams like this?
No.
Also, Metal, during last stream, before I said who I was, did you recognize me or no?
Immediately.
What about me? Cause people were saying, who are you?
Well, I don't know beyond my stream, but the only one on my stream that said it was, and I know that meant it was, Tim.
Timothy. Timothy couldn't recognize me.
But
He doesn't recognize like most people, to be honest.
The reason of why I mentioned this was, my voice changed since the last, since, yeah.
It's went down.
The only reason Tim recognizes like my or Rick voice immediately is just because of like just the sheer hours of hearing either of our voices. Aside from that, though, like he wouldn't be able to recognize like Alpha Proto's voice from somebody else's who hops on. Just as an example.
That's kind of funny, though.
But I recognized your voice. I'd say pretty much right away. You still have your voice patterns are still there. Yes, it sounds a little different. Just like I think I said yesterday or the day before, whenever you were on, it just more sounds like you have a cold. To me.
I guess. So, Metal, what have you been up to?
Well, now I've got that song stuck in my head thanks to you. So there's that.
Oh, my song?
Should I
No,
stay or should
no.
I go?
If I go, there will be trouble. Well, if I stay, it will be trouble. So come on and let me know. Should I cool it or should I blow?
Well, that's what I've got to play. Well, not that song, but I've got to play a different thing. See what people think. I got to see it in that view. My song.
The reference made sense with the whole
Songs get stuck in my head very, very easily.
but the reference made sense. As Rick is like, should I restart the stream or no? I was like, should I stay or should I go?
Well, I think I'm going to stay. I will let this one play out like this for.
And then you're gonna do it next time, forgetting that you did it this time. And then next time, and next time, and next time.
No, that's not usually how it happens with me.
Oh.
Maybe once a year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you just don't reuse the settings from this stream for the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him doing that.
No, I have it saved for my normal settings. I just, when I went to click all this stuff about, setting up the stream, start automatically, stop automatically, the 360 one's there, and I clicked it without realizing.
That automatically set up.
Pardon?
Well, when I do my streams, right? Like since I have something that's basically a show, right?
Yeah.
And even for this stream right here, you could easily have just pulled it from a previous one. If I reuse the settings from a previous show, the auto start, auto end, and all that stuff is already clicked.
Yeah, I don't have them automatically clicked. I have to click them every time. But all my, since I'm doing the, coloring the Canadian Shield, one shield up, almost all the time right now, the only thing that's different is, episode number and, so.
I know, that's what I'm talking about, right?
So that's
part 34. So you could have just borrowed all the settings from part 33 and then just changed the title.
yeah, that's basically what I did, but I don't have I haven't saved it, so automatic, the start automatically and stop automatically is clicked. I should probably do that. And then I gotta change the time for when usually the show's supposed to start, so.
I blame YouTube.
And I'm playing my video if you want to see it. No, I have a specific video that I made for my stuff right here.
Another man wanting to end his life. Canadian Shield saves him in the nick of time. Now he lets the man no reasons to live. With this, the man goes on to live many more days. Canadian Shield with the power of strength. Canadian Shield with the power of speed. Canadian Shield with the power of flight. Canadian Shield with many more powers. Will fight the evil that comes his way and help those he can in need. A villain appears and threatens many. Canadian Shield rush to the scene. A battle ensues and blows are traded. The Canadian Shield wins and many are saved. Canadian Shield with the power of strength. Canadian Shield with the power of speed. Canadian Shield with the power of
The song is stuck in my head. Now that it's, I forget what it's. Okay, that was and of course he's talking about the Canadian Shield song, which is on my campaign. Almost everybody I know likes it. Well, yeah, almost. Also, I was thinking of Dillard because I knew he wasn't a big fan of it. This is a new level of torture. Yeah, at least you can change the screen to what you want to see. You don't have to focus on me. I could change it now. That I can actually change now. That was not bad. Yeah, the place is bad, the word isn't. Yeah. Like ass. Oh yeah, but most people, they hear ass and they think it's a swear word.
It was like, that word is all over the Bible, right?
Yeah, I forgot to put
I understand hating the spirit of it more than the word, right? Like, I don't want you in that attitude. That would be a better thing to say.
Joshua says that he cannot hear neither me or metal.
Yeah, I know. I read that. and I fixed that already. It was because while the song was on, I muted the desktop audio.
It's because Crossy just wanted his fans to hear himself and no one else. That was truly the reason.
Although I interrupted, I didn't really want too much interruption for it because you couldn't hear it on this side. The only way you could hear it was going onto YouTube.
Like, listen, it's Rick's stream. Why would anybody need to hear anyone but Rick? That's why you come here, right?
Somewhat, you know. You know, I'm trying to get it so I'll have a panel again, people on, talking about this, that, whatever. You know, because people like somewhat of panel shows where there's, you know, and sometimes I'm talking, sometimes I'm not, sometimes other people end up talking about some sort of conversation, you know, and I just end up not getting into it and do my thing here. And
Some things, yeah, there's times where, Cross D tends to not, talk on his own show and makes all of his guests talk for him.
I don't make anybody talk. I can't make anybody talk.
You know how many times I've played chicken with Rick back when it was usually just me and him? I would just let it sit in silence until he finally said something.
Yeah, I was like, this man's still here? He hasn't said anything in 2 hours.
I revel in the awkwardness. It pleases me.
Sometimes I do, not too often. Da, 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 da. What?
See, I want to do some more work streams, but I think the problem is I probably won't be doing them on YouTube. I think that's what I've decided.
Why? Why?
Because I work best with music playing in the background. And while I love listening to my video game remixes and even a bunch of like my friends' songs that are like royalty free, I also like listening to, you know, popular music.
That's so fair.
Yeah. So it's like you play that on a YouTube stream gets taken down. If I were to stream it on like Twitch and Kick, it's like I could just leave that up as long as I want. As long as like the name of the song is on the screen.
That's fun. That's actually fun.
Hey, Outcast, how are you? So, today, Outcast, you can move your screen around and see different things.
Limited time only, though.
Joshua says real music. Listen, I'm not saying the other stuff isn't real music, okay? There's no music more real than Party Theme featuring Party Paul by Verbank. I'm just going to put that out there.
So, as long as you have the title up of the song on Twitch and Kick, you can play music. And
Pretty much. Like, you probably won't be able to save the VOD or anything publicly or whatever. Like there have been cases where the DMCA will be like, yeah, you have to mute this part of the stream. Or you could save it. It'll just mute that part of the stream. But I don't care about saving that, right? And that's only for, like, the highlight anyway. I'm not going to export a work stream back over to YouTube.
Yeah. You know whether you can do that on
There's another way
normal?
of doing it too. If I had a like more powerful computer, then I wouldn't be using Restream. I would just be streaming to all the places from just from my computer. But my computer can't handle that. And if you do it that way, if you use extensions to stream to each location separately from like OBS, then you could even control that this channel isn't going to this feed, and you could just listen to music on Twitch and Kick, and it would just be like silent except for your voice over on YouTube. So that would be a real goal, but I can't do that. I need a new computer to be.
Do you know how to set it up for stuff like that? OBS?
I have not looked too much into it. I know it's a bunch of plugins and stuff. It's one of those things that like I could learn it
Yeah.
in a night if I went and looked it up. I just haven't bothered to because I know my setup can't run it.
Yeah. I know about the plugins for other to have do multiple sites, and I want to get that back. I've had it before, but I'm not sure how to do so the music only goes to certain spots.
Yeah, you could basically there'll be a plugin, and I think it's almost like an equalizer where you can pick that this channel is just not going to this output.
Okay, I'd have to get help with that. Well, I probably wouldn't. It'd probably be easier than what I think, but
Yeah, you probably find like a YouTube tutorial that just shows you in 5 minutes how it is. As far as like, it would only take me a night to learn how to do it. I just haven't bothered to do it because my setup can't.
yeah, I think I could do that. I don't know.
But like, I watch people that do that where it's like if you're over on Kick, which now that Kick is a more established site, I kind of prefer watching a lot of streams over there because you can support people if they're Kick partners and still not watch ads without an ad block or anything. Like you just get to enjoy it. It's a fairly decent site. But there you can like listen to their music or everything. But if you're over watching them on YouTube, if you were to tab over and look at their YouTube stream, there's just no music playing at all.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd like to get it so I could stream to a bunch of places at once. Again, I've done it before. Outcast, this is the first you are louder than everybody else. Okay.
Maybe he needs to be louder than everyone else because he almost never talks. And it's also his channel.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Outcast is saying anything that there's anything wrong with it. It's just that he's like,
It's a first. Usually Rick is
Yeah.
quiet compared to his guests.
Yeah. I'm saying that's how it should be. Also, Outcast. Have I ever met Outcast before?
he's been on the last few times that yesterday when you were on, I believe. I think he was in the chat, but I don't think Outcast was around on my channel when you were normally here before.
Meeting people, it's so overrated.
Yeah. Totally overrated. I almost said under.
And the next, I might be doing another. Well, I'm not sure whether it's going to be a live stream, but there should be an unboxing coming up on my channel in the next couple days. I ordered some metal cards.
Cards made out of metal or
Yeah, aluminum.
Not cards for me. I don't have any cards yet. I am working on a trading card game in the background, but it's been on the back burner for a long time, so we definitely didn't order any of those.
Yeah. And they're supposed to be coming. Well, they were in Windsor last time I checked, so they should be out here hopefully tomorrow.
It's kind of funny when people mention the objects that you named yourself after, but not you.
Well, I didn't name myself this. Okay, this was a nickname I got in high school, and I liked it, so I kept it.
Makes sense. How did you get the nickname?
It was in judo class, and I'm the type of person that if I'm not on stream or whatever, because I'm not gonna just like take over somebody's stream and start singing, even though I kind of did that earlier this stream. I'm singing a lot, like all the time. That's just the type of person I am. I'll walk around the neighborhood singing songs, and one of the bands I would sing the music of a lot was Tenacious D, specifically the album or the soundtrack for the movie Pick of Destiny. And I'm a really good fighter. So because I kept singing that too, and there's a line where it says, you can't kill the metal will live on. A lot of the people just started calling me the metal, like they started associating me with that song. And that is where I first picked up
That's
that
so
nickname.
funny. That's so funny.
Cass says, I was wondering if you were going to do them or not. Yeah. I ordered them a couple weeks ago. I thought I said something about it here, but maybe I did, maybe you weren't here, maybe you forgot. Who knows? Doesn't matter. They should be I think they should be in tomorrow.
So what are you gonna do with these metal cards?
Sell them. We're gonna go on my campaign. We're gonna see how people like them.
Oh,
Maybe I might sell them in I have a Comic-Con that I'm going to on this month, later this month, so I might take them there. And if they do well, I might get more.
you want to know? Oh, continue.
Go ahead.
You want to know what kind of merch item that tends to do really well in general?
What?
Oh, there's no such thing. It just
I'm-
depends on your target audiences.
I'm saying like enamel pins tend to go pretty well in general.
Again, I think that just depends on what your audience is. Right? This is like there's a whole industry business around like marketing and doing market research and stuff and figuring out, because very few things do well in general. And most of that stuff that do well in general are like edibles of sorts, right? Or consumables. Soda, right, is like a super popular product around the entire world. Coca-Cola kind of owns the world in that way, right? When it comes to like merchandise, though, you can get more popular things that tend to do well, but it's still going to be based on who your target demographic is.
Pins and stickers tend to go in that more popular realm, I think.
Yeah, they're higher up there, but you'll definitely find certain areas where like your consumer base just does not care about the stickers at all. They're a good thing to invest into, though, because stickers are cheap. So even if the person who gets it doesn't really care too much for them, you didn't really waste much money giving it to them. So like they're a good little bonus.
I'm not sure yet, Outcast. I've only ordered 25 of them. I'm going to keep one for myself, obviously. I think obviously. So I have 24 of them available. It's hard to say because I have like less than 10 days on my campaign. I can put them up, and if I don't sell them all, I want to be able to sell them all elsewhere. I don't want to get stuck with 20 cards or 15 cards or whatever.
Think you'd ever do a promo video for them on this channel?
Well, possibly. Well, part of the promo video would just be the unboxing of them, of course.
Well, if you get extras, you can always just send one to me.
Although no, I probably
don't help out enough anyway.
Although, I was gonna say, I know. I can probably get it just off of Facebook, but you might maybe DM me a picture of you, because it doesn't look like all those spots are going to be taken. And after unless 8 people take them in the next, 10 days.
Yeah, you have the churchgoers.
Yeah.
Why do you call them the church goers other than the fact that they go to church?
He's got a tier reward, like a perk that you can get, where he'll draw the people who get it into the background of the panel or multiple panels, but it's like one specific one in the church. So he's got like these blank spots for like effectively NPCs, background characters, and they're the churchgoers. So you can buy your way into being one of the people in the church, in the congregation.
That's interesting.
It's in tier is what it's called, a reward
Yeah.
for the comic. Other people have done it. I thought it was neat. I did something similar on my last campaign, but it was more just name a particular firefighter. So you had firefighters have their name, like their last name or whatever, on the back of their uniform. I think it was for $10. You got to give the firefighter a name.
Yeah, and I told him if he doesn't fill it, because it is a pretty big tier that not tons of people are going to be interested in. If you have like thousands of people in your audience that you're selling to, you could probably fill it, right? Like the numbers are big enough there. But when you're the smaller end, you're like, it's kind of a gamble whether you're going to fill that whole tier. I said like, well, you should do what they do in comics, where they'll sneak the whole editorial team into the background of comics and stuff. Like you can still fill the spaces with the people who helped them out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, Metal asks about if they don't get filled, about him getting put in. Joshua,
I do help a lot with the editorial.
Yeah. Joshua says, so you have to pay money to join a church? What is this, a tithe? No, you don't have to pay money to join a church. You just have to pay money to be drawn into the congregation.
It's more like paying money to join the world.
Cross Comics world, yeah. And I've had 2 people so far purchase that tier. It doesn't look like the other 8 positions are going to be bought. I'm probably going to get my mom and dad put in. Give them a picture of them. I think it'd be a nice...
Boys.
And then I'll just say after, yours and those 2, and I'm just going to say, well, do whatever you want with the other slots. Put yourself in if you want.
For some reason, there's just like an anaconda in the spot. Like, that's not what I meant when I said do what you want.
But yeah, I definitely think it'd be a nice way to honor my dad. Of course, I'm doing the dedication page to him, or making a dedication page. Which I might actually get you to. I'm not sure whether I should put more or not on that.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it sometime.
I should bring it up right now.
Well, I'm not going to look at it. I actually don't even know how much longer I'll be on the show, whether it'll be to the end of it or not, because I might have to do something later this evening. I just figured I'd hop on while I have time.
Yeah. Definitely thank you for that. Yeah, because another hour before. Well, you should be able to see it now. Unless it's flipped for you.
No. The Discord only flips it on the end of the person that it comes from. That's like a thing all video call programs do, and it's basically acting as a mirror, so you can like fix your hair and stuff like that.
Interesting.
That goes all the way back to Skype. Like I think Skype was the first program that I used that did that. But I'm sure maybe even something older than Skype did. That was just Skype was big, so a lot of people would have experienced that.
Oh, yeah, I think you were around yesterday. Metal, we were talking about Fitzgerald's character. I did a
I was
little.
in and out.
I did a little. Well, you've probably seen his character before.
Why did I think it was? Wait, is this the clown we were talking about yesterday?
Yes.
Goofanoid. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I thought it was Timothy's, but still, yeah.
So
I
I
definitely
drew.
think it looks better with more stitches.
Yeah, I drew it up like that, and
You
then
should maybe you should put that clown in the church.
I don't think that specific clown really belongs in a church.
I was
But-
mostly kidding.
Yeah.
I was
And
mostly
the-
kidding.
and then I did my a rendition of Buffanoid that I came up with. I haven't because I was thinking about his version. It looks more mimish. Because an orange mime.
I mean, it looks very jester. You know, a lot of jesters wore that. Not all of them had like coattails or like frolicky like skirt tails or anything to them. Some of them just were basically, I wouldn't say skin tight, but well, some of them wore tights, like actual
Yeah.
tights, but a lot of them just wore kind of almost form-fitting full body clothes, you know.
Yeah, I looked up clowns. I got some pictures of clowns, and I ended up doing a little bit there. You know, I need to make it a little better, obviously, but this was a quick rendition. Although I think I should have added some more colors. I tried to keep to his color scheme of the orange and red.
Yeah.
Although I think it does give it a little bit more life clown look to it. I know mimes and, well, jesters definitely are a subgenre of clowns. But
You know, there's some people that will argue that mimes are not clowns at all.
yeah, I would be more.
It's a weird, like a weird distinction. I think there's probably something even broader than calling something a clown, a jester, or a mime. But they're all comedians, I guess you want to say. They're the classic comics, and they're just performers. They're comedic performers. That's their job.
Yeah, I would be one to argue that mimes aren't clowns myself.
I honestly have no opinion.
No, that's all right.
On this topic.
But I just said I'd show that off. Found myself doing that, so I might just do one better version of my version. And then put it up on, do it as a time lapse, talk over it, and then.
I think you should make his character more mentally insane. That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, that would adding more colors would probably make that look a little bit more.
Yeah.
You got to make the person look chaotic and maybe in a chaotic pose, for lack of a better way of saying it, to make it seem a little bit crazy or mentally unstable. You can't. It's hard to have that shown in just a picture. Sometimes.
I'm just saying, like what I told Fizz. That's what I told Fizz about his scripting.
Yeah.
My favorite clown, which I think passed away from cancer, sadly, was a spaghetti juggler.
Oh.
He juggled spaghetti, or that was his name, Spaghetti Juggler?
No, his name was Deontay Fettuccine.
Spaghetti. The accent kind of.
Deontay Fettuccine, the spaghetti juggling clown. He was a very traditional, old-fashioned style, like Italian clown. He would, as a comedian, like a stand-up comic or anything, because that's what clowns really are. He would circle through like Renaissance festivals. So he would come to the Scarborough Fair, which was my local one. And every year that I would go, I'd go and see him. And a lot of the routine was the same. Like over years, you do add in, cycle in new material, but you're mostly seeing the same show over time, right?
Yeah.
He'd have bits where he's like, I will now perform the most dangerous feat possible. I will walk across this tightrope while juggling pasta. And it was wet spaghetti too. It wasn't like dry pasta. He would also have a lot of like sexual innuendo jokes because, you know, that's classic clown stuff, where he would have like, usually he'd pull up a young woman just because it'd be funnier, and he would tell her to hold his banana and give her an actual banana and have her stand there. And he'd pull out a bullwhip, and it was mostly to show off science, but in a comedic way. And he made it look like he was really bad at aiming the whip because he was going to slice the banana in half. And the magic trick too is, like, if you know anything about how whips work, is that the tip makes that cracking sound because it's breaking the sound barrier, right? So he's getting really close to the banana without touching it, or the girl holding it for her own safety. And after you peel the banana, you realize that it's starting to fall apart on the inside because the sound waves were able to cut up the tender inside of the banana without actually hurting the peel. Very,
So
very
that
good
so,
show.
I guess that show made it really appealing to people.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah. I see what you did there.
I think he passed away of cancer last year.
No, that's too bad.
From what I can tell, I don't know. They might have been talking about somebody else, but it was the festival was talking about how one of their longtime members, and they mentioned a pasta juggling clown, passed away of cancer. It may not have been him. There could be another pasta juggling clown out there.
That'd be
Nice.
the impasta.
Yes,
That'd be
an
the
impasta.
impasta.
He'd be an impasta.
Yep.
Now the thing is, actually, I think dry spaghetti would be harder to juggle than wet spaghetti
Nah.
because I think
Wet
well, it
spaghetti
depends.
is all slimy.
Yes, but you hit the dry spaghetti the wrong way, and it's gonna break into pieces.
Yeah, but if you do it enough, like it'd be really easy to just like toss it up and grab it again. Now, in a windy day, both of them are awful. The dry spaghetti would catch the wind a lot easier and stop being in a bundle. But also, like dry spaghetti, you could put a rubber band around it if you really wanted to make it easy to juggle. While wet noodles would just slide out, like putting them in a rubber band wouldn't matter at all. But the whole point was he didn't care whether it was easy or not. The spaghetti was going to get everywhere. So in that case, it was actually better that it was wet because it's funnier when wet spaghetti gets everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he would get like a bunch of the guys involved too. Right? He said he would usually pull up a young lady up for the banana bit, but for the spaghetti juggling bit, he would actually have like this big rope tied to one of the like wooden posts for the what's it called? Pavilion, right? Like the canopy that you could sit under for the show.
Yeah.
And the post is in the ground; it's not going anywhere. And this big thick rope, he'd have like 4 or 5 guys come and like pull on it. So instead of a tight rope, it was actually more of a loose rope that was only being kept tight by the audience, which also made it funnier because it would get slack as he's trying to walk across it because everybody's trying to keep it taut against his weight. And he'd get like 3 or 4 steps before he either fell off and or ran out of spaghetti.
Yeah. So he wouldn't go on, no matter what? Or like, if he ran out of spaghetti, he would just stop?
Usually, he ran out of the spaghetti and steps about the same time. He's done the routine so many times that I think he kind of knows how long that a few men can like hold that up properly. So it's kind of timed. Like he knows he's going up there for just a few steps. And he stumbles off and drops all of the spaghetti around the same time because it's a comedic routine.
Yeah. And he would have his timing down and all that.
Yeah. And obviously, you can't control for who's going to be in the audience. But because it's supposed to be funny, if he's 1 step shorter than usual or whatever, it doesn't matter. But he was already like kind of gray in the beard when I saw his routine the first time, so I'm sure anybody would like to live longer, but it's not like cancer took him at an early age or anything like that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna hop off for tonight.
Okay.
Okie doke.
Later, pastry.
Bye.
I used to really hate clowns.
Yeah. And that's something I gotta get on a completely different topic. Gotta get with you at some point. I know I was talking about it before. Going over all the whatchamacallits, my bios that I have online, going through them and get them.
Oh yeah.
Get them all grammar corrected and all that.
No, I have to be more specific. I hated a specific type of clown. And it was kind of the full grease paint style clown.
Yeah.
The single exception is like I knew I could trust Ronald McDonald, but none of these other ones.
Yeah. I I don't ever remember being afraid of clowns. Myself.
Yeah, it would trigger my fight or flight reflex when I was a kid. The problem for the clown was that my fight or flight reflex tended to go into the fight direction.
Poor clown.
Yeah. Especially the one at like my brother's, I think it was like his 4th birthday or something like that.
Well, just as long as that clown.
One.
Just as long
I
as.
liked Lunette from The Big Comfy Couch.
I was just gonna say, just as long as he didn't get a clown like the one from Uncle Buck.
Yeah. Well, I think the big problem too with like the full grease paint clowns is one, it distorts their facial features, right? I mean, that's kind of the point. But you're looking at something that's uncanny now, so it's hard to like gauge their expression or whatever. It almost seems inhuman. But also, my parents thought it'd be fine to watch Stephen King's It, the old like
Yeah.
I don't remember, it came out 1990 or whatever, but the really old one with Tim Curry with their baby in the room. Like they thought that was a smart idea.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I know it's supposed to be like horror-esque, so yeah. Probably not a smart move.
But the problem is like rewatching it when I'm older. It's like this movie is not scary at all. I mean, it's got atmosphere, it's got vibes, and I read the book. The book's scarier than the movie. It's like this movie's not scary at all. But show it to a baby, sure, right?
Yeah, well, it depends on how old the baby is, whether they're paying attention or not, too.
I had an imprint of Pennywise in my brain for the longest time, so I'm pretty sure I was at least old enough to know what was going on to some degree.
Yeah.
I will actually still occasionally have like dreams, maybe like 1 in 100 dreams or whatever, where Pennywise shows up and I get into like a fight with him. I'm like, I'm getting you this time, clown.
There ain't no cloning around here. I'm getting you. You're going down, clown! There ain't nothing funny here.
I used to be very vicious towards uncanny things. I got kicked out of a Chuck E. Cheese on my birthday. It was like my 5th birthday. Because I kicked Chucky right in the nads.
Poor guy.
That's why I got kicked out. I think it's because of how defensive my parent got over it.
Your mom or your dad?
I don't remember. I was 5.
Yeah, true.
I think they were both there. Realistically, I think it was probably my mom, because she is the type of person that would do that and start screaming and yelling and stuff. But my dad might have gotten involved too. He's like the chillest guy, but if you were to start like getting aggressive towards one of his kids when we were young, he would be pretty defensive.
Yeah.
So it might have been both of them to a degree. Probably more my mom, though. My mom would just like... I don't get embarrassed easy. By myself or others. I just don't. It's not the type of person I am. But my mom would cross the line to where like even somebody not related to her would get secondhand embarrassment from the situation. Because she was... when she wanted something, when she thought things were supposed to go her way, like a hyper Karen, she would yell at employees in stores and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And I'd be like, you can't do that, especially because they're right in this situation. But she didn't care. She didn't care at all. we're talking about like actual screaming, like, to the point where like your voice starts distorting. You don't sound like your normal talking voice,
Yeah.
like a big child almost.
Well, there's some guys can be like that, but I think that's normally a woman thing. Getting upset that
Exactly. But like you don't meet many people that get that upset, right? Those are like the type of exceptions where if my mom was still the type of person that went out to like the grocery stores and stuff, even a few years before she passed away, she's the type of person that you'd see on the internet because somebody was recording their freak out. It's almost for the best that she was functionally bedridden or could only move around in a wheelchair for the last few years of her life. Awful to say, because I really wish she could have gotten up and moved around and
yeah, I get
had
what you
my
mean.
quality of living. But like at the same time, like I'm glad that I never had to see one of my mom's freakouts on the internet go viral or something like that, you know?
Yeah. For sure.
Like if they were more mild, I'd even probably have been the person recording her to put onto the internet. But they were just so like, man, I don't even want to do this.
Yeah, you don't want to embarrass your mom that bad.
I don't know if I want to embarrass myself or the other people watching the video that bad. I remember one time, because like my mom had been to the point that she needed to use one of those like electric wheelchair carts, right? Like the
Yeah.
ones for handicapped people for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly when this happened. It could have been anywhere between a decade or two, right? When this started. But I actually left the store.
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, we weren't getting much. Everything that we were getting could fit in just the cart for the motorized wheelchair, the scooter, the rascal. So she didn't actually need me. I was just there to spend time with my mom and help her with stuff. And was like, but she was just freaking out so much. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this right now.
Yeah, I get that.
So I just left the store. It's like, I'll wait in the car until you're done.
Yeah, I don't need to be associated with this.
Yeah, because like if you try to intervene or whatever, or actually even worse than that, if you don't back her up, like you could just remain neutral, then you also start becoming the target of her tantrum. And it's like, no, I'm gonna wait this out in the car. I don't care.
Yeah,
I might even walk home.
yeah, not to deal deal with it. I definitely get that.
It's like emotionally, I basically had a 14-year-old as a mother. Like I could almost like viscerally feel when I was like emotionally more mature than my mother was as a teenager.
Yeah. Well, say that's unusual. I'm not sure whether that's unusual or not. Some say that women are supposed to mature faster than guys, and then some people say they don't mature as much as guys or whatever.
I think in a lot of cases, both are true at the same time. I think what happens is women, due to biological reasons of life, end up hitting their plateau faster than guys do. But it's going to vary from person to person where that plateau is. I see a lot of relationships where the woman is far more mature than the guy is, even when the dude's like 50, right? It's like her plateau was just higher than his. She hit it fast, and he never catches up, but eventually he'll get close. And then you'll see relationships where it's like, yeah, she plateaued faster. She's emotionally 14, and the guy might only ever be emotionally 18, but it still puts him like 4 years above his wife.
Yeah.
In the case of my parents. So I always laughed at all my friends growing up, their parents, because like everybody has issues with their parents.
Yeah.
Every single person, right? That's part of growing up, mostly part of being a teenager than anything, because some of the issues you had back then you kind of laugh at when you get older. Like, yeah, you know, it's like my parents aren't perfect, but with maybe a little too hard on them. But yeah, my friends would get so angry at the stuff that, specifically their moms. They all had issues with their moms, and that makes sense because your mom is supposed to kind of be the more protective one overall, the one who's kind of like more worried about your future.
Yeah.
But every time they complain, I'm like, dude, that's nothing. Like, it's like, what I would be like, your mom's a saint. What are you talking about? It's like some of you even learned. It's like there's reasons why we never have the sleepover at my place.
Yep.
My mom used to lock us outside in the summer when I was a kid.
Yeah, I think
When I was 9. In Texas.
Joshua says, women, am I right?
In Texas, Rick.
Yeah. Hot, right? Is that what you say?
Yeah. Back when there was still like this hole in the ozone layer.
Oh, back when there was a hole in the ozone layer? They actually corrected that? Oh,
Yeah, actually, the big one that they were talking about, that filled up. That actually did. Nobody talks about it, but there really was a hole in the ozone. Like a thinning of the ozone. It's incorrect to call it a hole, but that's what everybody called it because it was easier to picture. There was a thinning in the ozone, and it repaired itself. Not fully. There were efforts to help it, but yeah, it's been repaired since then. But I think it's because it partially was on the trajectory to repair itself anyway, is why nobody talks about it, because it's really bad for like the whole climate change agenda to talk about the fact that the thinning of the ozone fixed itself in that area.
yeah. That's sort of what I was thinking. You know, like I realize that nobody talked about it and anymore. It's like,
And you're like, did it just go away? Well, yeah, technically it did. But it also went away from the zeitgeist, too.
yeah, it went away because it wasn't as much of a threat that everybody made it out to be.
Yeah. It was a good thing to monitor, though, because
Yeah.
that if you were in the path of it, because it's basically like having a thinner shield in that area during the time of the day that the sun would be directly over that area, then you would be getting more UV. So you would have to wear more sunscreen. Like, you have to let people know that there is a risk under that time. And if that was the way it was handled the whole time, I don't think anybody would complain. It's all the other stuff around it that was the issue.
Yeah.
And realistically, it probably had nothing to do with the factors that people said. There were probably random thin spots of the ozone all throughout the history of the Earth.
Yeah, I
Would
could,
come and go.
yeah, so, like, maybe meteors coming in or whatever.
Yeah. Does the stuff we do now with industrialization help? Probably not. Realistically, it's like we are doing stuff. It's not like we don't have effect on the environment. Just like beavers building dams will reroute rivers, but it probably also happens naturally, and they might last for like a decade or two at a time or so, and they probably disappear.
Yeah. Oh, this page is going to be a pain to... all this stuff in this one panel. Or in these couple panels. Two. Do.
I think the worst part of the whole situation too was not just the fact that I was 9 when she used to lock us outside. My brothers were 7 and 6. So like they were even younger than me. You can't lock a 6-year-old outside. Expect a 9-year-old to take care of him.
Joshua says you were soaking up all the valuable AC. Yeah.
These kids were loud, and my mom just wanted to like peel off and sleep on the couch.
I remember one time I came home and I was locked out. My mom was out somewhere or whatever. I forget where. At this
Yeah,
point.
that's fine if it's by accident, but like she would literally take us and put us outside and lock the door.
Yeah, but I think you said you also found a way to get back in, right?
I did. Eventually, I figured out there was no cover on the locking mechanism for the sliding glass door in the right, because usually there's like a small little metal cover on the other side, and because it was open, I could wedge like a screwdriver or something in there and flick the lock from the outside. Now, there's no point in doing that early enough because we just get thrown back out again. I kind of learned that. But I also just didn't want to hear my parents fighting unnecessarily. So I'd pretty much wait until it was getting later, right before my dad would come home, and then me and my brothers would sneak in. Because if my dad found us locked outside, then there was going to be a fight, as there were several times before that. And my mom doesn't even remember. Of course she doesn't. She was like pilled off on the couch, right? Like, why would, if you go into that state, why would you remember what you did around that time? She's like, yeah, I only did that once or twice. It's like, no, you did it almost every day that summer. My dad remembers. He's like, no, you didn't do it only once or twice. There's a lot of things I started doing just because I wanted to reduce the amount of fighting between my parents.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Like, I started doing laundry and the dishes, but I would sneak around to do them so that, like, nobody else knew that I was the one doing them. Because I wanted mostly my dad to think my mom actually got up to do the dishes or the laundry. At a very young age. I think that's also why, like, now, I still have that habit. I don't like people knowing I do things, but they need to be done. So, like, I'll do the dishes in the middle of the night while everybody's asleep.
Yeah. I'm a little bit that way. I don't like people knowing that I'm doing some things, you know.
I don't like to be thanked for things. I don't like credit for things most of the time.
Yeah, I'm a little bit that way too. Hey, Fitzchozo. Can't get him. Show, I guess Fitzchozo. Though I'm doing a video on it, I did draw up a character and I added some more stitches in.
Yeah, if you want to see, you're probably gonna have to rotate the screen.
Oh, yeah. Crap.
Rick forgets that he's accidentally in 360 mode.
Oh, what might be on it? Yeah. Oh man, I can't believe I did that. I would always wondered what it was. Who's that character? This? It's not the super best John. Right here, this is definitely supposed to be your character. Not sure how well you can see it.
He has a weird muscular goofanoid. Yeah, you did kind of give him a bit more of heroic form than most of his stuff has.
I guess it was just natural for me. And then I did my interpretation, sort of him. Because I was saying to Metal, yours seems more mime-ish, a mime with a jester hat, than clownish. So I tried to clone him up a little bit. No, this isn't super good because...
I mean, like I said, a lot of jesters just had simple face paint like that.
Yeah. Well, I just say that because Fitzchozo has described him as a clown for the most part, and he doesn't seem really clown looking to me.
Yeah, I think that's a personal bias. I think he looks plenty like a clown. Which again is going to be my personal bias, but as long as enough people recognize it's a clown, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah. What do you think Fitzcho's version looks like a clown or doesn't, or is that?
I think it looks clown enough.
No. Okay, so I was in the middle of trying to figure out or remember the color pattern I used to do the portal for Messenger.
Messenger, I hardly knew her.
I don't think he's actually supposed to look like the Noid necessarily, Joshua. I could be wrong. I just think he's supposed to think that's how he came up with the name Goofanoid, and maybe a little bit of the personality of the Noid.
The Noid.
But Fitzjoseph says yes, somewhat.
You know, the Noid isn't even dead. Last time he appeared was in 2021.
Yes. It's the psychedelic shield.
Do you like that more painted? Or like why don't you just make a gradient?
Guess I could.
You know, unless like you like the effect of when you spray paint it, you know, you could like it.
Yeah. I do like it a little, for sure. If I didn't like it at least somewhat, or however you want to say. A Goophanoid isn't a real buster or more agile bruiser. More of an agile, like most Jester characters. But you still have to have some muscle to do a lot of that agile stuff too.
It depends on the physiology of the person, because they're gonna have muscles, but some people it doesn't even show.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm a very acrobatic person, but I also have denser bones and muscles than most people. I didn't start showing much muscle at all, and I still don't really show much of it until I was close to my 30s, well into adulthood, and your musculature does still develop, right? Like as you get older, some people when they're young, they're expecting to have like these really big defined muscles, and that's not going to be the case for everybody. Especially when you're younger, your muscles heal too quickly. And a part of like getting defined muscles is actually technically scarring in a way, right? It's muscular atrophy where you're breaking the muscle down and it builds back up. So depending on the person, like you could be pretty strong, you could be pretty acrobatic, and it just doesn't show at all.
Yeah, I
And
can
some
imagine.
people, it just shows very early on, right? Like you can look at some acrobats from back in the circus, and there are people in their early 20s that look like weightlifters now. But there's also weightlifters now that are like super skinny, and you wouldn't even be able to guess that they're a competitive weightlifter.
Okay, now you suggested gradient. I sort of know how to create a gradient.
I don't even know what the gradient creation tools are in Clip Studio, but I assume they're probably similar to Photoshop's.
Red,
I think
yeah.
Batman should be the perfect example of that, and you can even include some Robins. But like when we see Batman for the most part, right, especially if we go back to the beginning of his career, like when we get introduced to Batman, he's already about 30, right?
Yeah.
But like if you go backwards, and this is something I always disliked about, say, maybe like year one Batman stories and stuff. If you go backwards, Bruce probably actually should have been smaller in musculature
Yeah.
earlier in his life.
Yeah, because he's always exercising, always, doing that stuff, so he should build up more muscle over time. And why is everything topsy-turvy, Fitzgerald? Because I accidentally clicked the button 360 VR. So if you actually take your mouse, you can move the screen and get from different angles. It's really trippy. Okay. I guess we need to do inside the circle.
Your muscles also develop differently at different points of your age too. Like you're probably familiar with like the skinny pack, right? Like young men, it's easy to just have like a six pack and be skinny without working out too much.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna like show even through a tight shirt, but if you take your shirt off, you'll see it's like, yeah, that guy's got a six pack. He didn't earn it or anything. It's easy to have one when you're that age. But then you get older and somebody who's like much stronger, but it's like harder to develop a six pack. Like you have to really, really work for it. And some people, again, it's genetics. It'll probably never even look good. There's some people where it's like the muscles there are not symmetrical or whatever. They're a little off. But it's just like people independently, their muscles will develop differently from each other, but also your muscles will develop differently at different points in your life too. And not even consistently, like different muscles in different parts of your body will develop differently at different points in your life.
Yeah, I can believe that. You know what? Well, it's on the wrong layer, first of all. But thanks for the suggestion, but I think actually, I could probably do it a little, figure it out a little bit better, but...
Yeah, you'd actually have to, like, work at it, right? And it's like you could change each of those boxes up there to be the specific color you want in your rainbow. You can even change, like, how far away some of the colors are from each other, but it does take, like, effort.
Yeah. Even this takes effort, but I just don't want to do it right now.
No, I don't blame you. That's why, like, it's a future suggestion. And you could take it to where it's in the same pattern, too, right? Like, you can move...
Yeah.
The orange to the inside, then the yellow, then the purple, then the blue, then the green. So it's not in like the Roy G. Biv pattern. But it's something that takes like a few minutes to actually do.
Yeah. Tim's here and he says, "What's up, Metal?"
Everything's up. Technically.
No, the ground's down.
That's the core. Well, that depends where you are. Right? And maybe you would redefine the ground, but if you were like far enough out that Earth's gravitational pull wasn't doing too much to you, even just floating in, then the Earth would still be up. Down is just gravity.
Yeah, I guess so.
But from our perspective, yes. The thing that has the most gravitational pull on us is the Earth. So the Earth is down.
Yeah, there's something. Instead of coming in and saying, "Hey, what's up?" say, "What's down?" Be different. I might do that. I might use that.
Down.
Yeah.
That's too weird, right? Because like some people jump in saying, "What's the down low?" You know?
Yeah.
What's the down low?
And the reason I say that too is because a lot of times, like when I'm at church, the pastor sometimes the pastor will say good morning from the pulpit, and then I'll say good evening, good afternoon, just to be weird and indifferent,
Yeah.
throw somebody off. Timothy's okay, yeesh. Listen to we get into a whole philosophical discussion on Tim's statement of what's up.
Well, because it kind of reminds me of Ender's Game. Not the movie, though. I think maybe some of this was covered in the movie. I barely paid attention to it. It wasn't very close to the book. Very early on, to the point that I was having trouble wanting to pay attention to it. But in the book Ender's Game, they go into a lot more detail about the game and their strategy and stuff. And I know the game made it into the movie, so I don't know if you even saw the movie Ender's Game to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I saw the movie. I did not read or listen to the book.
But there's a game that they have to play in it for training, right? That they're all the different squads and stuff have to do, which is kind of almost like a ball game. Like the enemies do have like a side, and it's kind of like dodgeball, but with guns that freeze the opponent, right? Or they don't say it freezes in the book, though they use the word once. That disables the opponent, right? It's like a stun ray almost, and it can disable different parts when it makes contact with the suit. And Ender comes with the idea that since they're in functionally zero gravity, they're in free fall inside the arena where you play the game, that they need a way to communicate with each other. So down is the enemy side, and it's always the enemy side. And I thought that was like great, because down doesn't really have meaning in space if you don't have gravity pulling on you. And even the book came to that same conclusion. The book's actually pretty good. People should read it. The movie does not do it justice at all. I think it's a great book for kind of like a middle school level of reading, but it's still enjoyable as an adult.
Okay. Joshua says, why are you trolling your pastor, Rick? Because it's fun, and he does it sometimes to me, too, in different ways. Fitzjoseph says, I had another super obvious scam bot in my Twitter DMs. Always a chick who just turned 18 asking for help. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get those all the time. I just ignore them.
Yeah, same here. Or some sort of scam. And then Joshua says, we already know you don't read books. I don't read as many as I used to, but at one point I did read a lot of books. I read the whole Left Behind series. And the kids version.
Actually, we can consider doing on stream. Finding stuff that's mostly public domain or things like I don't have to worry about somebody slapping me, because publishing companies will slap you for reading stuff if they have the rights to slap you for it. Their bots will come in and DMCA you for like reading books on stream. But stuff that I don't have to worry about getting DMCA'd, I have thought about just having like reading streams.
Yeah.
Where I'll read like a whole page or two at a time and then check back in with the chat and go back and forth between them.
And I actually did. I've read the Bible online a few times. It's a book.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's a book.
Yes, and I also read a couple books about comics and the Bible on here. So, I do read.
I used to stream. We only did it once, but we did it for several months straight. Oh, maybe almost a whole year. I did a whole book club where we didn't read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on stream, but we did discuss it. a chapter or two at a time on stream weekly. And that was fun. I kind of enjoyed doing a book club.
Oh, let's see. Joshua says he's just trying to be nice by saying good morning, and you have to punish him for it. He gets a good laugh out of it as well.
The other thing I'm trying to decide is I don't know if I did want to start doing reading streams. If I should start with something I've read before that I kind of want to reread because it's been a while, or if I want to start with something I've never read before.
Yeah. And, Fitzjoseph says, I'm looking for... He says he's looking for public domain dog characters. Is Rin Tin Tin? I think Rin Tin Tin is public domain.
Maybe. I know, technically, though, you don't really want to start messing with him until next year, because that's when everything kind of went full force. The prototype cartoons, the very first one starring Bimbo, should be public domain, but the actual series doesn't start until next year. Same with the spin-off character Betty Boop. That, like, they're prototypes technically this year, but their series don't actually each start until different points next year. So it's like safer to kind of just like wait till next year.
Joshua says he's probably just laughing to be polite. No. My pastor wouldn't do that just to be polite. Or that pastor that I did it with.
To be fair, most pastors are goofs. Not all, but most are. Like, you almost kind of have to be to get to want to be in that position.
Well, no, Crypto is not the oldest superdog. I don't when did Crypto come into existence? And I guess it depends on what you mean by superdog, too.
Uh, 55.
You just looked...
Yeah, Adventure Comics 210 was the first time Crypto showed up.
Dogs in comics.
Yeah, 55 is pretty late, considerably. Like, there gotta be one before that.
Oh, yeah.
Probably just like a lesser known one that nobody really knows about.
Public domain dog characters. Because I'm sure Rin Tin Tin's older than that. Oh, wow. I'm on. This is supposed to be public domain superhero dog characters. Apparently Clifford the Big Red Dog is public domain. Possibly.
Maybe if it was manually put into public domain, because like Clifford was first published in the 60s.
Yeah. And then it has
So
Ralph.
it wouldn't be because of.
Well,
age.
this says trending pages. There's category public domain characters or that domesticated that are decimated. Public domain characters that are domesticated canines. Then it has trending pages.
That may not have anything to do with it, though.
Yeah. There's Alfalfa's dog. Xando Hound, Balto, Baskerville, Bingo, Folk Song, Bonzo the
If
Dog.
Clifford's in it, it's because they manually put him in there because you can. You could choose if you have the ownership of something to make something public domain.
Yeah, he is in here.
Yeah.
From what I get, unless they're just giving public domain appearances, public domain literacy. Yeah, he was first appearance is 1963. Original publisher Scholastic Enterprises, created by Norman
he's not-
Bridwell. Pardon?
There's probably certain aspects of him that are open to the public, right? Like, I'm sure they wouldn't care if you painted Clifford into a children's hospital room or something like that. But Scholastic still owns the copyright to it, and he doesn't fully go into the public domain until 2058.
I guess you were looking that up.
Yeah, like I went and specifically looked that one up. It does seem that there are certain aspects of them that it's just open though.
Oh, I didn't realize
Like
that.
nobody's gonna care if you paint him on even your school wall, like you make a mural with Clifford or he's in a classroom or something like that. Which is important to know. There's some people that care, like they will come after you.
Well, Ralph the
If,
dog. You know, Ralph the dog from the Muppets. He's public domain.
Is
His first appearance was Purina Dog Chow in 1962. Original publisher Purina Dog Chow. Although he was in the Muppets, I thought of him more as a Muppet I did not realize he was in commercials.
Yeah, he's probably like the only exception, right? Because I think almost all the other Muppets, aside from like Sesame Street, which is a little bit older, right? But all the ones that are original to the Muppet Show probably don't go into domain until 70, 71,
Yeah.
which will be like a little less than 100 years after they came out.
Here for Fitzchozo, I'm going to put this in the chat. Yeah, I didn't think Clifford is what you were looking for. In looking it up, I saw that and I thought, that is crazy.
Yeah, things can be manually put into the public domain if the owner wants to. If you worked with a company, though, even if you have the primary ownership, because of working with some type of publishing company or production company, they may fight you on that because they might claim partial right and be like, no, we're not. It's going to have to wait until the 100 years after your death that like everything else has to wait.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what type of dog you're looking for. Are you looking for an actual super dog like Crypto in public domain? Or are you just looking for some smart dog like Lassie in public domain? Fitzchozo.
Yeah, but typically we're looking for things that are like 100 years old.
Yeah. Well, I
Not
get...
quite. It's a little less than that, but that's the safe part. It's like if something's 100 years old, you can just use it.
Yeah. Well, I went and looked up dogs in public domain, right? And this fan zone site where they give you all these public domain type characters. You can, I guess, sort it by different things. I did dog characters, and I put the link in the chat for Fitzchozo.
Yeah, and like anything that's less than that, 100-year-old safe area, you might want to look up in what capacity are they available to the public, because it might vary from character to character.
Now, okay, he's saying super dog. Do they have to exactly have very similar powers to crypto, or can they be, anything? But anyways, you do have a list there that you can now technically go through. And find out about
Just look
stuff.
one up. Because here, my thing is, because I mentioned public domain earlier, I'm only worried about that for like covering and reading other people's stuff on stream or in video,
Yeah,
because it's safe, and also it's fun to go over really old stuff.
yeah,
But even then, the thing doesn't have to be public domain. It just has to be something that the publishing company is not going to DMCA the streamer video on.
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that are not quite that old. That's fine. But me personally, I would not ever want to work with a public domain character, because that's just kind of boring. Like a character that already exists. I'd rather just work with my own stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking of sort of working with it. I just want a team for a super team that's supposed to operate during World War One. So I'd like to take a bunch of the public domain ones, put them back in World War One.
Yeah. My problem is, like, the only way I would do something like that is if somebody else was paying me to write it. Like I was doing it as a job. Then I'd be perfectly fine. The problem is, I would actually probably charge more for a job like that than if I was just writing something new for the person. Because when you're dealing with something like that, especially me, I'm very anal about stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'd have to dive in and like read everything up to the point that is public domain or whatever to actually be able to get a grasp of the characters and the world itself.
Yeah.
So I could write something that feels genuine to the world. While if I'm just making something up for somebody, it doesn't really matter. I just have to fill in the idea.
yeah. Well, yeah, and the thing is, I'm thinking of throwing different characters from different, quote unquote, universes together. So yeah. But then again, it would not be characters that I think would be used too often in my universe. It would just be neat. I think a neat thing to have.
Yeah. It'd be like what DC did when they acquired a lot of the characters that were in like All-Star Squadron and stuff like that, right? What making All-Star Squadron.
Yeah.
They kind of used characters that didn't have Golden Age versions of themselves. They took these other stuff that they got from purchase and made them the Golden Age versions of some of their newer characters.
Yeah. Like there's a couple like one that we were just reading recently. I sort of liked her costume and all that over on Mike's. What was her name? Something War Nurse. Actually, I think done by Harvey, and I think they actually created two War Nurses. There was something Martin War Nurse, and then later they came up with Pat Parker War Nurse.
Yeah.
So it's
I
like,
don't even know if I'd read somebody's take on a public domain character,
there's a couple channels out there that actually redraw them up, reinvent them a little bit.
I would watch an artist redraw an old comic, like panel for panel with their own like art.
Yeah, if I wanted to do that,
Yeah.
I was, before my computer crashed and before things happened with my mom, I was actually, although it was very slowly, trying to do that with the first Shield one from Archie.
Yeah.
And I was, bring the art style up a little, the colors obviously up, I might still do it. I'd have to go get it again. And but there's ones that reading, they're all public domain, of course. I think that we read over on Mike's. Back from the
Oh,
1940s.
I don't know.
1940?
It doesn't matter when it was published, right? It's based on the creator, like the life of the creator plus so many years.
Yeah.
Now, if something's 100 years old, because of human life expectancy, it's a pretty good shot that it's public domain.
Yeah.
But it's not like a hard year from when something was published. It is based off the life of the creator.
Yeah, these are like 85 years, 15 years
Yeah.
within. And then you have companies like Disney trying to make it so,
They keep extending
yeah,
far past the death of the creator it is. And I think they hit their limit. I don't think they'll ever be able to extend it past what it is currently. And Disney's not even trying. They didn't even bring it up because I think they know too that they've already hit the limit of what they can do. And they don't care so much anymore. Because they still have trademarks for like everything. And they're not even really worried too much about their old brands. Like what's the last thing that they really did with Mickey Mouse anyway? And that was the thing that was pushing them the entire time, was keeping Mickey out of the public domain. But they're just such a big thing, and they've got so many different brands now, things that it'll take even longer to get into public domain, that I don't think they care anymore.
yeah. Well, they've had too many other issues lately too, so.
Of course.
Now, technically, Mickey is technically, I think, still theirs. Technically, they did Steamboat Willie, who is technically supposed to be Mickey Mouse, but
Okay, well, here's the problem with that. They've tried to put that technicality, but the problem is Walt's own notes worked against them. The character was never named Steamboat Willie. That's
Okay.
the name of the episode, of the show that he showed up in, right? Which I guess you say movie. There were shorts, as far as movies go, short films, but they were, when it first came out, it was considered a movie.
yeah.
That is the name of the movie, and it was a reference
Oh,
of
okay.
another movie.
Okay, I did not know that, so that's my bad. I just thought he was supposed to be called Steamboat Willie because the cartoons named that.
Donald Duck is really the star of Walt Disney, not Mickey. Well, no. I like Donald more. I would agree with you on that part. Donald was always my favorite growing up, but Mickey is the star. His face is everywhere. Like, it is ridiculous to try to argue that anyone is the star but Mickey. Mickey was Walt. He even did the voice of Mickey for like the longest time at the beginning.
Fitzgerald says public domain has been extended to such a degree that all IPs fell out of public consciousness before public domain. I won't say all,
But a lot have, yeah.
because like
And a lot of the timeless ones that are like really substantial were already so old when the public domain laws were being made that even those original ones were already in it, right?
Winnie the Pooh.
Mythology.
Winnie the Pooh wasn't out of the public's consciousness, but
Still isn't.
Yeah.
As far as merchandising go, it's still one of the highest franchises.
yeah, but it is public domain now. He's public domain.
The original book version of Winnie the Pooh is.
Yeah. And some people went and made a character based on him, like,
Oh my god. I hate all of the public domain Winnie the Pooh stuff I've seen so far. Even
did
if I
you,
like the person.
did you see the one where they made him into, like, a vampire hunter or something like that?
Yeah, it was was it Ravenloft or whatever?
Yeah, I
Who
think
does,
Ravenloft. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, because it's similar to his other Demon Hunter thing, but there's a Winnie
Yeah.
the Pooh one.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, and it's supposed to be in the same universe too.
Cool. Yeah, I think he's cool. I don't care
Yeah.
for his Winnie the Pooh stuff because it doesn't feel like Winnie the Pooh. That's the
Yeah.
problem with the public domain. A lot of people are really excited to get their hands on public domain stuff, but most of them are. I think they're just jealous of the people who hold the IPs because they kind of want to ruin the characters just as much as the people who are ruining them now.
Yeah. Although, well, I was gonna say, although they don't think they're ruining them, but that's like even the people that are ruining the characters that we like now, they don't think they're ruining them, but they are.
Oh yeah, and like I'm pretty sure. What is Ravenloft's name? Is that Nick Mueller?
I'm not sure what his real name is offhand.
I'm trying to remember. Because I confuse a lot of people's names around. That might be one of the other creators' names. But like, he's a cool guy. I've talked to him, I think,
Yeah.
at least once on like a Matriarchy stream or whatever, or maybe over here. I don't remember where I talked to him, but it was on some promotion streamer. And I'm sure the writing is great, right? If you were to
Yeah.
divorce, like take Winnie the Pooh out, put another character in the slot who has like the same build and personality, the writing is probably great. But it's not Winnie the Pooh. That's my problem with it.
Yeah. I get you. I haven't read it myself either. Like I'd like to get some of his stuff, but I haven't really had the money, and I forget whether he does digital or not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
If it's trying to argue that more people know the Duckverse than the Mickey Mouse stuff, I don't even think that's true. Like, DuckTales is very popular. Way more popular than Darkwing Duck, the spinoff, ever was. Stuff like that's really, really popular. People like the Duck comics, but even then, like, Goofy stuff was also equally popular at the same time, or more or less, or right afterwards, right? We have, like, Goof Troop and everything. And they're different universes, but they're kind of also all the same one.
yeah, it's
And
weird.
while that's happening, there are tons of Mickey Mouse and friend cartoons and movies still being made during those eras. It's
Yeah.
only recently that there's not a ton being made.
Yeah, well, it's
House
but,
of Mouse was super popular.
Yeah, in some ways, it's amazing that they haven't done something like that for Mickey. DuckTales.
Yeah, they've dropped the ball like so hard when it comes to just all
Mouse
of Mickey
Tails.
stuff.
There, Mouse Tail. Mouse Tails. Mouse Tails.
Mousecapades.
And like he has the 3 nephews or whatever too, right?
Mickey's family is very ambiguous. And it's very, very big. Mickey's family is bigger than any of these other characters' families. Just because up until these characters got their own series, more cartoons had been made of Mickey than like any of the others. So sometimes he would just have like a random relative that was introduced for that cartoon. Mickey's family is ridiculously huge.
Well, he is a mouse, right? They populate pretty
Yeah, I
fast.
expect him to be big. Yeah.
Joshua says the stuff they're doing with the character could have been already done as a parody. Yeah, very possible, for sure. Or for Ravenloft.
Yeah, and I think I'd prefer it as a parody. I love parody, and when you're working with parody, you get to poke fun and do fun things without actually ruining the main character that you're parodying.
But there comes, like, Superman gonna become public domain soon? I forget. Or part of them?
What is it, around, I think 2030, somewhere around there. Like, you might still have to wait a few years, but it is going to be soon.
There's a bunch of older characters like that are still in the public consciousness that are coming up.
34.
That are coming up that would be in public domain. Baby in 34, Superman enters the Crossverse. as a World War One superhero.
No, you remember, well, which maybe it works too, because you might want to keep things more reasonable at that time period of like a World War One hero or whatever.
Yeah,
That version of Superman can't fly.
yeah, but he jumps an eighth of a mile and all that, you know.
Yeah, and he's only really strong enough to like pick up a car at that time.
Yeah,
He gets stronger over time and gets more powers and stuff, but like you're dealing with original Superman when he goes public domain.
Okay says, I think we all have stories regarding Superman for that year. I actually haven't
Not
planned
me.
it. I haven't planned anything, but I'm half joking, half not joking. You know, it depends on where I am in the creation of my comics too.
That's my problem though. It's like if you're talking about parody or whatever. Any story that I could write for these public domain characters, like when they become public domain, or even if they weren't, let's say I randomly got hired by the studio that owns them, any story I could write for them, I could also just write that same story for an original character. And just give them like a whole cast of original characters that fill in the gaps and stuff, you know? Which at that point, you could kind of say becomes parody, technically. Right? But it's like, I don't need to write stories about these characters. I stopped having an inclination of wanting to write stories of these characters back when I was in elementary school.
Yeah, I've had the odd time that, you know, like oh, maybe I'd like to, but you know, for the most part, I've only I think ever wanted to do my own stuff. Let's see. Fitzchozo said, I thought of a story where Pete from Mickey Mouse, Peter Rabbit, and Peter Pan are an evil organization. Let's see. Outcast says, I
Good old
have.
peg leg Pete.
Outcast says, I have, and it's nice to, and it's a nice to the stories I'm making.
Tied. It's tied to the stories I'm making right now.
Cool. And I have, and the story. Oh, I was reading the first one, not the second one. I have, and
Yeah,
it's
he's, like,
nice
corrected
to.
himself.
Oh, he's correcting himself. Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like I said with the other one, if somebody was paying me to write, then yeah, I'd come up with a story that fits that character. It's like I've read enough Superman, even the old ones. Like if somebody's like, "Hey, I'm an artist. I want to draw a Superman story, but I'm not a writer. Could you come in and write a year one Superman story for me, an action comic Superman story?" It's like, yeah, I could do it, absolutely. I wouldn't do it for my own. Like I've no desire to do my own, but a job's a job.
Yeah. Fitzchozo says 3 evil Pete's, Mickey, and Winnie would be the heroes fighting them. Huh? Cool.
Like if I had a desire to do something like that, my favorite cartoon character I could just make stuff of right now.
Yeah.
Because the original Felix the Cat stuff, which is my favorite. I like the Bag of Tricks stuff from the 60s and the movie later on, but I like the old black and white stuff even more. All of that stuff is already public domain because of how old it is.
Yeah.
If I wanted to do a black and white Felix the Cat comic, I could. I just don't want to.
Yeah, I get you. There's not a really, you know, like I said, for me, it's just I'm not wanting to. The public domain stuff, I want to make them, you know, like superheroes from World War One, possibly. You know, I've tried working on some myself before, and they might intermingle with them, but it's at the same time, it's not characters that I would be planning on using once. I think it'd be like once, maybe story arc or whatever. You know, that just to introduce them into my universe. They're in my universe technically, but I'd probably never use them after, 1 or 2 times using them. unless somebody was really into the stories, then okay, what can we do with this Justice League, World War One, and like I'd be putting my twist on them that they would be, Christian superheroes at the same time in World War One.
Yeah. I guess to some degree, though, I just never really understood the desire to write stories of other people's characters.
Yeah.
I kind of get it, because it's not like I didn't used to write fan fiction or anything when I was younger. But even then, I was more interested in writing other stories that took place in that world than I was with those characters. It's like, yeah, but I already see what those characters are doing. I want to like fill in the gaps of what's happening elsewhere at the same time or whatever. That was always my interest. And after a while of doing that, I'm like, why don't I just make my own worlds? Why am I filling in the gaps of other people's worlds? I could just make stories with original characters in my own world.
Yeah. I get that very much. Like something that like I said, I've thought, every now and again trying to do maybe DC or Marvel for, just so I can make some money or whatever, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I think everybody at some point, if you're into comics and enough that you want to make them, at some point you're like, yeah, I would work for these companies if I could get in. Just it would be a good job because you're working, you're mixing business and pleasure.
Yeah, but ultimately, I've only ever really wanted to do my own characters.
More or less the same, yeah. And I think that was one of the things that made me not even want to care about even trying to get into places like DC or Marvel or anything.
Yeah,
because they actually really don't want you making original characters too much, right?
Yeah.
They do from time to time, but then they know that it's like until they started that royalty program, which was already around before I was old enough anyway. But it's like they know that if the character's popular, they're gonna have to pay you on it forever. So they'd rather you just didn't.
Yeah, although they need
like,
you.
I want my own title, Like I don't want to work with any of these characters. I just want to work in your world.
Yeah, although unfortunately, they have to get people to create new characters for various reasons, just so
they realize
things
that.
don't. And that's how Ethan got rich off, or rich. I'm not sure whether I should say.
They started to realize that they needed that, and that's why they have that royalty program, and that's also why they're trying to make all of these like successor characters work that aren't going to.
Fitzjoseph says, I found out that Count Chocula, Fruity Yummy Yum Mummy are public domain, although they are trademarked.
Yeah,
so
you
that
can use them in things. You just can't like name anything after them.
Yeah, so you could have them in your book, but you cannot title the book after them.
And even then, while you technically can, but this is where they fight you on it, it's best to just like not have them refer to each other by their full names, right? So you'd be like, you'd call him Count, you'd call the other one Brute, you might call him Yummy or Mummy, one of the two. But like, most of the time when you play with that stuff, it's just safer to use a shortened version of their name than the full one, just to avoid the problems that sometimes come up with trademarks.
Yeah. Well, heck. I know a little bit about this from listening to a little bit of the stuff on Captain Marvel. DC can technically call Captain Marvel, Shazam, Captain Marvel inside the book.
Oh yeah, they can.
They just cannot put the title of the book as Captain Marvel. They could have his own book, but they can't call it Captain Marvel.
Yeah, the reason they stopped calling him that was because in focus testing, they realized it was confusing to have a character that was identical to the name of this other one, and also it not being the title of the book, right? It's like he says Shazam. By that point, a lot of people already started associating him with like the name of the wizard.
Yeah.
And so it's like, Might as well just
Yeah,
call him Shazam.
and that's all the normies. Yeah, most of us,
Yeah.
most of us comic fans, he's still Captain Marvel. He's the real Captain Marvel. Because we
Yeah.
hate the new Captain Marvel. Marvel. We didn't mind Captain Marvel or even.
Oh, I liked Marvel. I actually liked Carol before she was Captain Marvel.
Oh yeah,
You know, it's
too.
like,
Yeah,
when they turned her into that, they like flipped a switch and changed her personality overnight.
I liked her as Miss Marvel. They should have kept her as Miss Marvel.
They should have kept her as Warbird, who is still
Yeah.
technically Miss Marvel, but it's a cooler standalone name, and it's also the outfit everybody likes anyway.
Yeah. Well, I like the One Piece bathing suit, basically, with the S on it.
With the lightning bolt, the black one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Warbird costume.
I thought that was... I know her as Miss Marvel in that costume.
No, she kept it even when she went back to being called Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay. Because she
That's,
had
I was gonna say that's the costume everybody likes anyway. They should have just kept her.
I think she had one as
Yeah.
red and brown or red and white or dark red and white as binary. That's the one I remember as binary.
Yeah, it's binary. She's had a few different names at different times.
Yeah. Like, let's see. I'll see if I can find the outfit that I link her to for binary. And it's amazing.
The
Nobody
best
wanted.
outfit is like the black vinyl with the kind of like lightning bolt on it. They should have just kept that outfit forever.
Yeah, that's her best. This is the one I think of for binary or basically.
Yeah. Though eventually she basically just got control of the binary powers and didn't have to like set her head on fire or anything to still use them.
Yeah.
Which I think is why she lost that outfit.
Should have known that's the. It's gonna come up. And take.
That and I guess she returned to Earth. That was another factor, right? It was like she's no longer doing space stuff.
Copy, and of course, this is the one that she had when she first became Miss Marvel.
Yeah, the red and black
But
with
this,
like that half cape, almost like trailing scarf thing.
but I think this is the most iconic outfit for her.
Yeah, with the red sash and the long boots. When I think of Carol, that is the image. Well, not that image particularly, but that's the outfit that comes to mind.
Yeah. Outcast says, yeah, but it was dumb to name him Shazam. Yeah. You can't really say his name to anybody. Yeah, I'm Shazam. Oh. Well, that was sort of dumb.
Well, he could if they just said that it's not simply saying the word that does it, but it's also feeling it, right? Like he has to feel and say it at the same time. If they changed it to that, then he could say his name all he wants if he's not like feeling the transformation. And it would also still put everything in his, keep it in his court, right? Like he's the one that has the ability to go back and forth. You couldn't like have somebody force him to by like putting a gun to his head and forcing him to say his name or something.
Fitzgerald says, wait, if they get paid royalties, why don't new writers from Marvel and DC create new characters with code names? Well, they do. A lot of them do.
They also have
But
to be approved by editorial.
yeah. Like Ethan Van Sciver, he created several characters for Marvel. Not Marvel,
And for
DC. Well, I'm more meant DC,
Well, he did
not
for Marvel
Marvel.
too. He made he made
Dust.
Dust.
Yeah, but he created Jade. Well, not Jade. What's her name? The female the female Green Lantern that was got anxiety and didn't want to go out anywhere. She originally got the fear one, the power ring from the alternate universe. And he also created the Lantern, most of the other Lantern Corps. He created like Atrocitus.
Most of the Red Lanterns in general were just made by him and Johns together.
Yeah. And I think even the Green Lantern, well, not Green Lanterns, all the other Lantern Corps characters, except for, of course, Star Sapphire's one with Hal Jordan's girlfriend.
Was that Jessica Cruz's origin? I don't remember her origin.
Yeah, that's Jessica Cruz.
Okay.
Yeah, Jessica Cruz, yeah. That was Jessica Cruz, I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, like the power ring from the alternate universe, the Earth-C ended up getting defeated or killed or whatever, and the ring went out looking for somebody that it could instill fear in or whatever, and it found her. And then with the help of Green Lanterns and Batman, she was able to overcome it and take control of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like basically any character during that time period that came out of the creation of the emotional spectrum, which added a bunch of the Lantern Corps, like both Skyver and
Jeff Johns
get royalties for that because they created them together.
Yeah. And
and even though like the artist does the design, it's you kind of have to give it to both people who worked on the book together, because it's really hard to distinguish how much input one had over the other.
Yeah, and then also he had a big hand in the Rebirth, Flash Rebirth, Green Lantern Rebirth, I believe. So he gets money from those when they sell those books, anything to do with those books. When they had Atrocitus in the movies, the Justice League movies or whatever movies he's been in, he gets money from that anytime they use the character. So it has to be approved, and DC has to think that it's going to go good, and like sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. The emotional spectrum was a big thing in DC.
Yeah, the reason I harp more on the Red Lantern one is because during their time, they pretty much made 90% of the characters that would be Red Lanterns. A lot of the other corps have been expanded since they stopped working on it, that maybe they did half, right? But a lot of those, of course, just have more characters now than they made.
Why do writers for DC and Marvel just make new secret identities if they get paid royalties anyways? Well, I don't think that I don't
totally up to them either.
It's editorial. It's the higher ups that say this, and I'm not sure if they're just giving a new secret identity, whether they would get royalties or not. A lot of times, a new secret identity, say when they were trying to make John Kent popular, that was because of stuff that they go through with one of the families of the guys that created Superman. They didn't want to pay out money to them. So, it's no longer Clark Kent. It's John Kent, his son. So they don't have, the costume's different. So they don't have, when they're doing him, they don't have to pay out royalties to the family.
Yeah, there's a lot about the combination of the name and the identity of the character, right? Because they do keep the character itself separate from the mantle they're wearing. It's another reason why sometimes people will be introduced as a temporary stand-in. It's like, well, he's not Superman, but he's Superman in this comic while Superman's recovering from being killed by Doomsday, right? And then they'll spin off into their own character with their own identity and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like when Superman, like you said, when killed Doomsday, they brought in the Eradicator, they brought in what would become Superboy, the Steel, and
John Henry Irons.
and the cyborg Superman. You know, they were all Superman during his death, but once the real Superman came back, they ended up all becoming their own characters. One bad
so what
and
tends
three
to happen
good.
is writers and artists on the side, they'll be developing potential new characters. Like, they'll have like a folder of stuff they'd like to work with, things they'd like to propose and stuff. But because editorial has the final say over everything and they keep the business straight, well, maybe you can't use that word anymore for them, but they keep them on the narrow. You have to wait for opportunities. Like, they will give you the opportunities. Like, hey, we need to do something with a new character. What do you got? Or we need a substitute character during this time. Like, they'll tell you when you get to add a new character. You don't get to just add one willy-nilly to be able to get royalties. And sometimes you're like, hey, for the plot that we're doing, I need to introduce a side character. And most side characters that ever get introduced, even if they're reoccurring, the type you'll get royalties are kind of powerless characters. They're supporting cast.
And you could
you don't
get
get
some.
that much
You
for
could get, you could get a little bit, but not that much. Depends on how popular they become. If it shows us asking, saying, why is Miles Morales called Spider-Man and not Electro? You mean as a code name? Well, I know that because in the Ultimate Universe, the original Ultimate Universe, they killed off Peter Parker. They killed off Peter Parker in that Ultimate Universe. And then they introduced Miles Morales, and for a while, he was the Spider-Man of that universe. And then they did the whole new Secret Wars or whatever thing, or Contest of Champions. That
was an editorial decision too. Like, they wanted to replace Peter, so they gave a hole for Bendis to put in somebody else. That's why Miles even exists.
And then they killed off most of their alternate realities, and Miles survived and got into the 616 universe, although it technically isn't it the one universe because there's no other universe, not supposed to be any of the other universes out there because they killed them all off.
There wasn't, and then they kind of undid that.
Yeah, of course. Just like DC undid it, right?
Yeah.
That's the short thing for Miles Morales being called Spider-Man.
But at the end of the day, why is anything editorial? That is the answer. That's the answer to everything.
Yeah.
Even when things aren't good. Like, why was that allowed to happen? Oh, it's because the editorial let it happen and they just didn't do their job very well.
Yeah, and they've done these decisions, since, the beginning of comics. The death of Superman was an editorial thing to try, or maybe not even editorial. It was the higher ups. Oh, let's try and generate some interest. What can we do? Oh, we can kill off Superman. That'll bring out a lot.
Are editorial, Rick. There's no difference. When you have a company like that, instead of having like a president or a CEO or whatever, the person in charge is the editor in chief.
No, his main power isn't electricity. He does have a little bit of electricity. He has the spider powers, but he has the venom thing, the venom sting or whatever.
Well, you can even argue, depending on the version of Peter, his main power might have been electricity, right? Because there are different explanations at different times in Spider-Man, which I believe the original was actually that he was using static electricity to climb the walls. Later, they used the oh god, I'm blanking on the scientific term, but it's the same force that like spiders and geckos use to climb, which is technically vacuum energy. But it's there have been times where Peter's main power for climbing walls was technically static electricity.
Yeah. And then the other thing, too, when Miles was originally created, the electricity that he has now was not as prevalent as it is now. It was nowhere near as powerful. It's something that they've developed over the 20 years that he's been a character. And
Van der Waals, that's the word I was looking for. Van der Waals forces.
I don't think every other black character's power is electricity. Yes, we have.
There are a
Black
lot,
Knight.
though.
I know Black Lightning, but there's Falcon. No electricity there. War Machine.
Well, I think it's just saying how like prevalent it is across
Yeah.
stuff, right? Because you hop over to DC, you also have like Static, and like there are just a lot of black characters. So if you took every other, right, every second black character, you line them all up, you might actually be able to get enough that are just like electricity-based powers in some way.
I can't think. Besides, well, they
You
made.
could even argue that War Machine's powers are electricity-based because he has to have something powering that suit. The suit is the powers. There's electricity in the suit.
Yeah, but he's not shooting out electricity, which is what I believe Fitzchosa would mean. And Fitzchosa
Iron
says
Man
that,
is an electricity-based hero who generates his electricity with a small fusion reactor.
this is only 13. I would have thought it was longer than that. Miles was created. Miles.
2011.
Well, it depends on when, I guess, in there.
August, so it hasn't passed yet this year.
Yeah, August has passed this year.
Oh, it has. I keep thinking it's still August. It's September now, ain't it?
Yeah.
Because it was late August, but August is gone. So yeah, no. So it's
14 years.
2011. Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't think it was that long. I thought it was longer ago. Ultimate Fallout, August 2011.
It always takes me like I lose the first week of every month. It takes me like a week into a month before I realize what month it is. Which I guess in that way I also gain a week in the last month, right? It's like all of my months just start a week later and end a week later.
Yeah.
It's kind of like back in school, right? We had to. I don't know if you guys had to date your papers when you turn them in, back when you were in school, but I did. That became like a standard practice.
I think so.
And, yeah, after coming back from the winter break, it takes like a week of dating your papers to not erase it because you were putting last year's in the year slot.
Fitzgerald says, I was a kid when my elves was created, not a baby. Well, to
I
me,
was already an adult.
yeah, same here. But I thought it was longer than they got that ago. Honestly, I didn't think it was only like 2011 that it was created.
Yeah. I think it's probably because we forget how long Ultimate Spider-Man ran. So we're thinking of Ultimates back in the aughts, right? Which is when the earlier part, while Peter was still going, was running. But Miles was after that part, so that was already into the 10s. I always forget that Ultimate Spider-Man ran into the 10s as well.
Yeah. And, it's just like... yeah, that's got to be it, because I started reading it back in the 10s, but like you said, you don't read... or the aughts, and you don't realize sometimes how long you're reading something. It's just...
I think it's a little easier for me to remember for him specifically, though, because I have like that marker point of I graduated high school in 2010. So that's able to like split it for me. It was like, oh yeah, he was an after high school character.
Yeah. I graduated 94, so.
Yeah, there's certain things that like you have markers or milestones in your own life where you can, pun intended there, put characters before or after that milestone.
Yeah. Chris Chozo says, and Miles Morales still doesn't have interesting stories. They were a little bit more interesting, I think, when he first started, when he was not in Peter Parker's shadow in that universe.
My issue is none of his stories were interesting, not because conceptually the stories weren't interesting. Miles himself was just never an interesting character. He had the
Yeah.
personality of a brick, and that's kind of insulting to bricks. And now, I could say he has interesting stories, but not in a positive way.
Yeah,
Right?
well,
Occasionally, there'll be something worth making fun of that pops up.
yeah, like when they did the whole Miles thing as Thor and this
And he
character.
turned Asgard into the Hood. And it's like, yeah, you become a god, and that's the first thing you do.
Yeah, and like, what did they make him Black Panther too? I forget all the Captain America. It's like, okay, this is just stupid for this character.
Yeah, and now he's the avatar of the arachnid god, and they've directly put the West African story character of Anansi into it, which, I mean, it's kind of cool to include Anansi. They're just not doing it in a cool way. Like they're just not doing it well.
Yeah,
In fact, actually, I think that they should have just done that from the start, give him his own title, and maybe he should have called himself some name that's a variation of the trickster Anansi, the storyteller. That would have made him a more interesting character from the start. They still could have had him kind of related to Spider-Man, but obviously they just kind of wanted him to be Spider-Man, and that was the problem.
the Miles Morales movies are only known for their animation and nothing else. Well, the Spider-Verse, they're known for the Spider-Verse.
And it's kind of sad when Neil Gaiman in American Gods does more justice to the character Anansi. It's like that's which I enjoyed it in the movie adaptation. He wasn't very good in the book, or not the movie, the show adaptation. He wasn't very good in the book, American Gods. But that's like a low bar. If you're not passing that bar, you're not doing this like mythological character well.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I think, like, they killed the Ultimate Universe off, and that's sad in and of itself. The original Ultimate Universe. The new one isn't too bad. I've read the books. Or at least I've read the Spider-Man books. There's more to it than just Spider-Man. It's just, like, Miles, I think, was better in that universe with Peter dead. And then they even bring Peter back in that universe. Because he wasn't probably doing that good in comics. Although Peter wasn't the star when they bring him back.
I don't think Peter's been the star since. Even when he's like in his own title and they're doing stuff with Peter, he's kind of like, he's always playing second fiddle to whatever's going on, and he's kind of just loafing around.
Yeah, maybe.
I think the only comic right now where he is the star is that the new use of the title Ultimate Spider-Man, where it's like Dad Peter married to MJ and they had kids, and he didn't become Spider-Man until he was already a dad. That's like the only one where they actually let Peter shine, and it's not even the real Peter. It's better than how the real Peter's been for a long time, but it's like that's not actual Spider-Man. It's another universe Spider-Man.
Yeah. It's 619 zero dash B or something like that.
Something like that. I don't know.
Because apparently that got interfered.
Ultimates was 1016 back in the day, I think.
Yeah. Fitzjoseph says the Ultimate Universe was just Miller Edgelord stuff. I like the Ultimate Universe myself. I read.
I never cared for it.
I read most of it. I'd say, if not all of it. It was some interesting
would
takes
push
on
back.
the.
It's not all edgelord stuff, but a lot of the writers and artists did get edgy. Like, they would just bring in cannibalism for any reason. Like, half of the big characters just suddenly became cannibals.
Oh yeah, the Hulk was a cannibal.
Yeah, that was the main one. And then they just made, like, Green Goblin another Hulk.
Yeah. Well, they gave him a tail. But it was an interesting take on Green Goblin for sure. Not your typical.
Yeah.
It wasn't your typical Green Goblin. I like how they redefined the characters a little bit. You know, Scorpion was a bit different. You know, they were all the characters seemed to be a bit different. You know, Rhino was different.
Yeah, I knew which Miller you were talking about, Fizz. Of course, I read the fact that he put the A in there, which a lot of people have tried to say that it's supposed to be pronounced Millar. Even he just says his name Miller. It's just a different way of spelling Miller.
Yeah, we knew you weren't talking like Mike Miller. At least I knew for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, so it wasn't all that level of edgelord stuff, but there was a lot of it because it left, because it was a different world. It was open, and they were trying to specifically cater to modern teens at that time and what they thought teens were into. They let people get edgy when they wanted to, so there was a lot of that in there. And part of you're talking about those interesting takes. Those interesting takes, because I was a teenager when a lot of this stuff was going on, was exactly why I didn't like it and didn't want to read this stuff.
Yeah, I guess because I had read, you know, like a lot of Spider-Man at that point. You know, I knew a lot of this stuff. I found it interesting just because it was a new interpretation and it was a different universe. They weren't doing it in the main universe. Let's see. Fitzjoseph says Quicksilver was banging Scarlet Witch. Well, they definitely implied that for sure. I'm not sure whether they ever 100% said it or not. Deadpool was a cyborg who hated
And be honest, I don't
mutants.
think the Ultimates was the first time they implied that they were banging.
And had a reality show in name only. I don't remember that out of the Ultimate Universe. But
Oh, the thing I hated too is like the Ultimates were so popular. I don't know if it was like astroturfed, if it was false popularity or something like that. But the Ultimate Universe influenced so much of the movies during the aughts, like anything that really came out during that time.
oh yeah, that I'll agree definitely.
And there's some aspects that are fine, but there's just a lot of it that is like, I don't like it. I don't. This movie would have been better if you just took a more classic rendition of this character.
Yeah, like, well, Nick Fury was influenced by it. I think,
One of the two Hulks was influenced by it.
yeah. I think, what's his name was influenced? Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, I think, was influenced a little because of the, I was going to say the natural webbing, but that's something else. That's a different storyline.
No, it was the Andrew Garfield one had more influence from it than
Yeah.
anything. Especially because like originally they were gonna do some like mutant goblin stuff, but that got scrapped, and you could see Norman before he's like dying doesn't look fully human. near the end of the movie, and it's just stuff they just ended up not working with.
Yeah. Fitzgerald
They
says,
were gonna do a full like hulking goblin in the Amazing Spider-Man stuff before it was scrapped.
yeah. Fitzgerald says Deadpool wasn't essentially Deadpool in the Ultimate Universe. Hey, you know what? As much as some people don't like it, I guess that's all right. You know, not every character has to be quite the same. Iron Man movies use the 616 origin. Fortunately, yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, thankfully.
But
More than anything, I hated Ultimate Thor.
oh yeah,
Because Ultimate Thor was almost more of a gadget-based hero. Like, he still had Thor's powers. A lot of characters were nerfed in Ultimate at first, at least. Like, they weren't as strong as their main universe counterparts have gotten over the years. But, like, he was almost focused on the different Asgardian weapons than anything else. Like, he had a whole arsenal of Asgardian weapons made of Uru.
yeah.
I
Well,
think at one point, even like Wolverine ended up having like his skeleton replaced with Uru or something. I don't remember quite. I remember that happening somewhere. That
I don't-
sounds like it was an Ultimate thing.
no, I don't think that was.
That might have been a different spin-off then.
But
Whenever that was in, I also hated it.
oh, I was thinking something about Spider. Well, yeah. Unfortunately, they messed in. As far as I'm concerned, they messed up Spider-Man in the movies because there was no Uncle Ben.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I have no idea where this aunt comes from because she married into the Parker family.
Yeah.
So how is this woman related to him? How is Aunt May his aunt?
It was May, just like a foster mother, that he calls her Aunt May because it's like, well, it's not like I can't see you as a mother from when I came in or whatever. I don't know. Like, how does this work? How does this work out at all?
Yeah. Because, as you probably know, Aunt May was married to Ben Parker,
Yeah.
who was the brother of Richard Parker, who is Peter Parker's father.
Yeah, and they were pretty distant because they had like a decade apart or something like that. They weren't close in age.
Yeah. Which is why they were supposed to be a lot older than him or whatever. You know, I guess that's why you've always seen an older Aunt May and older Uncle Ben.
Oh yeah, right. Because
Well, maybe older Aunt May
already had
because
a decade on the dad, and then you add like another
15 years.
16 to 18 years, whatever age you are in high school, right? On top of that,
Well-
the whole high school, they should already be close to graying.
Peter Parker was supposed to be 15 when he got his spider powers. In the
Yeah, I'm just talking about the
main
whole
yeah.
range of him being in high school. Like, no matter where he's in it, you add that on top of the 10, like they should already look
Yeah.
old.
Well, it depends, you know. Look at me. I'm not sure how old Aunt May is supposed to be when he's 15. You know, I don't look 50. And a lot of people, even that look 50, don't look as old as Aunt May. Aunt May looked as old as my grandma. Near the end, who was like, you know, like
Oh,
in
yeah.
her 70s.
I find it funny that who's the recent one was Marissa Tomei, right? I can't remember the name of the one in the Sam Raimi movies, the actress, but they were actually pretty close in age. Like when those movies were filmed, they were approximately the same age, maybe like a couple years apart.
Oh, wow.
Like The mermaid just doesn't show it like the other actress did. Because you remember, she was, you go back to the 90s, the current Aunt May was in My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah. Fitzgerald says Tom Holland movies avoided Uncle Ben. Originally, that Spider-Man's freshman cartoon was supposed to be his MCU origin before they scrapped it. Joshua says, at first they were saying Uncle Ben already died, but then they gave the Uncle Ben death to Aunt May, and they realized they messed up. Yeah. Fitzgerald says, basically the writers of freshman year didn't want the limitations of not having big Spidey villains. Yeah. But
Yeah, I always find like that's the big difference between both of the companies, right? The big competing companies with each other, DC and Marvel. And it's because of who their oversight is, right? It's a difference between WB and Disney, more or less. But with all the DC stuff for the past couple decades, their problem is that the higher ups, whether it's producers, whether it's like editorial or whatever, have been too hands-on, that they get in the way of the creative process. And they're the ones who end up messing things. You're like, no, but this thing needs to be in there. And we see that a lot with a lot of the DC WB movies. And I think the only place that they don't have a problem is in the animation. Marvel, on the other hand, and Disney have been so hands-off that they don't put enough proper restrictions on what you can and can't do, and a mess of everything gets made.
yeah.
And it's like, there's a balance in here, people. There's an equilibrium that you can find where there's enough responsibility of everybody on the ladder to keeping things in check.
Yeah. We've been going like 3 hours now. Or I am.
Yeah, we can stop whenever you want. I thought I'd be gone by now, but I guess everybody else is running a little late, so.
Yeah. But it's been a good conversation. That's why I didn't stop it earlier. Because, sometimes it's nice just to have that good conversation, the flow. I'll just read Joshua's last comment. That way they could say to the people who didn't like the home trilogy, don't worry, he wasn't actually Spider-Man yet. Yeah.
Yet.
Pardon?
You could just drop the yet there.
Yeah. So
He wasn't actually Spider-Man.
yeah. So thanks everybody who came on the panel, talked. It was good having you all here. Thanks to everybody out in the chat. It came great having you all here. I'll be on tomorrow night, of course, for the Silhouette game. We will be doing ghosts. Hopefully they're actually all ghosts. I know a lot of characters. Sometimes you might have chosen a few that have ghosts in the name, and I'm not sure whether they're really ghosts. Although I did not choose one, and I'll tell people right now, I did not choose Ghost Rider because although he has ghost in the name, I do not consider him a ghost. I don't know about other ones because I don't know enough about them. So anyways,
He's going to be in chat telling you every single one that isn't a ghost.
yeah, I can believe that. So I guess we'll see everybody tomorrow. God bless. Yeah, I'll probably be going over to Hero Shack from here, Fitzgerald. So God bless everyone. See you all later. Love you all. God bless.